Hi everyone, welcome to my review of Bridesmaids, directed by Paul Feig from 2011. So yes, we are back once again, this time around, ready to discuss Bridesmaids on the channel. This is a film that I've seen 2 times now. I saw it again last week, and the first time I watched this was a few years ago, and I never got around to reviewing this one. So yeah, wanted to discuss this film today and share my thoughts on this. So yeah, before all that, there will be a spoiler warning on this discussion. If you haven't seen this film, simply recommend seeing it first, and then come back to this video, and we can go from there. We talk about this from the comments, and of course, yeah, various comedy films and Paul Feig films if we want, and yeah, just to celebrate cinema as always. So yeah, with what I said, let's discuss my thoughts on this film, and yeah, this is one that I absolutely love. We'll get straight into it. I just think first time I saw this, I was definitely looking forward to seeing it finally, and it was a few years ago, and I thought. Having said that, just kind of, I watched the film, and it was just getting better and better for me, and it was a real surprising film, and not just because of how hilarious this was, but just and really full on kind of physical comedy in this, but also just how dramatic it was, and how invested emotionally I was, because it's not just kind of this funny film. It really is one that I got so invested in, and it just takes a lot of turns throughout the narrative that I was really surprised by. So seeing it for the first time, it kind of instantly became one of my favourite, kind of modern comedies at least, and seeing it again, yeah, it's just different moments came back to me, and I just absolutely love this film so much. It's just from start to finish really absolutely hilarious, and as I say, it has that drama and that kind of blend that I find to be just so great in this film. I think the first 10 minutes is very good, but after that is when it really starts to fully pick up, and I think I just became thoroughly absorbed in this narrative, the characters, just the tone of this, and it's this feel-good film, quite a magical film actually, and also inspiring, and it's got some dramatic moments, and sad moments throughout the film, and these friendships that are kind of tested, if you will, and I think obviously with Annie being played by Kristen Wiig, in this film, and she is so great in this, and as well we have of course Maya Rudolph playing the actual bride-to-be, Lillian, and she kind of makes Annie her maid of honor, and it all kind of goes from there. As we know, things for Annie don't kind of go according to plan, and it all kind of spirals out of control, and the actual wedding itself, it's kind of it's kind of tested, if you will, and Maya Rudolph, Lillian is kind of saying at one point, later in the film, she doesn't want to go ahead with this and everything because it all goes wrong, really disasters, and throughout the film in a funny way, but also kind of it's in an emotional way, and it does kind of test their friendship, but in the end, it kind of makes them more stronger, and when they come together in the end, we have loads of interactions in the film, different characters kind of first meeting, and things. Friendships that are forming, romances as well that form throughout this film. We have, of course, Chris O'Dowd playing Nathan, this police officer, of course, who kind of, some mishaps along the way. Him and Annie, kind of, there's friction there, and, also something there, kind of chemistry, and, it's a really surprising thread. First time I saw this, because the way it was done was really natural, and there's something that's a little bit unexpected at first, but then it becomes clear that it kind of makes sense, and it is one of my favourite aspects of this film, this romance, and it's just so well done. Seeing it again, it's just even better than first time round really for me, and it's all kind of feeds into this inspiring kind of narrative, I find, and the way that Annie kind of realises quite a lot of things, and she does, it's hinted at, kind of discover her passion again, and although that's not really fully shown in the end, it's kind of hinted that perhaps she will kind of find her passion again, and pursue that after things have happened in the past, and that's really inspiring. And just all of the characters that interact in this film as well, in a comedy sense. We have McCarthy, it's Megan, and Helen as well, played by Rose Byrne, and Rose Byrne in this film kind of playing the villain, first, someone who kind of gets in the way of Annie and her plans, and that's also one of the best things about this film. We have that kind of throughout the entire narrative, really, until the very end. The kind of back and forth between Rose Byrne and Kristen Wiig, and just they're both trying to be seen as the best, the true best friend of course, Lillian, Maya Rudolph, and throughout the film, there's bickering, there's kind of attempts to one up each other, in this kind of this whole prep, and the whole kind of event of this wedding, and all the stuff around this, and it's just for example the trying on the dresses, and all this, and just the gatherings and the kind of celebrations around this, and they're trying to one up each other, even quite soon into the film we have it setting the tone there when they kind of do the speeches, this gathering, and it's just kind of Rose Byrne here, it's kind of just saying stuff, and then Kristen Wiig obviously gets jealous here, her character, and Annie, then it's back to Rose Byrne's character of Helen, and they're both trying to kind of deliver this end, in that sense, and let it be the last word. Their epic speech about their past, making stuff up, and it's so funny, and the way in which throughout we have this kind of frustration within the narrative of Helen, but it's a kind of love to hate in that sense. So really love to see Rose Byrne in this role, and she is just so great here. Probably her best performance actually, and I do love her in Spy as well, but in this film it's just something else. This character of Helen is so well played and written as well, and I think the writing in this film is just so great. It's something that's believable, natural, and heartfelt. Really warm film. This it's so uplifting and kind of feel good, but it is. It's got these kind of complex emotions as well, and also just throughout absolutely hilarious. And I think just the scenarios that kind of thought up, it just adds for so much comedy, but also it does it fuels the narrative and the character development. I think just all of the interactions here. I think Melissa McCarthy though is a standout. Kind of solo character really here of Megan. She's just one of a kind, and just so bizarre and unexpected, different things that she says, and we learn about throughout the film, and it's subtle at times, as well as just very full on with Melissa McCarthy, and she is just so great in this film, legendary, and probably again my favourite performance from Melissa McCarthy. And even though it's more of a standout kind of solo character, one of a kind, it doesn't take away from the rest of the narrative, and this is quite an ensemble. It's kind of got that nice balance, I find, in that sense, between unique characters that kind of brought into the film for this event, and for the wedding, and the planning of all this, and also as an ensemble, and how they all interact together, and they form these friendships. Even in the end, I love how Helen and Annie actually, very surprisingly, first time around I didn't expect this, they actually kind of form this bond throughout the film, probably because the way that they both really care about deep down, of course, Lillian, and even though they're against each other, they kind of find that common ground as they do care about their friends, of course, with Lillian, and as well they probably realise as well, it seems like, just how silly they were throughout their whole film, and they just they form this bond, a natural kind of bond in the film, and in the end I love the kind of just the subtlety of perhaps we'll kind of meet up again at some point, and hang out kind of thing. I love that aspect of the film. Something, even though they were kind of at each other's throats throughout the whole film, and it was something that added so much drama for the film, entertainment. I think in a believable way. It's kind of this turn in the end, this transformation of Rose Byrne's character of Helen, and also Annie. Who kind of they do find that common ground, and they do kind of form that bond, and kind of put all the differences aside in the end. So it's got so many different inspiring moments in the film, and I think just all the things that Annie goes through in the film as well, personally, and just how that their friendship as well, this lifelong friendship is tested between Annie and Lillian. I thought it was just so well done. Maya Rudolph in this film as well is so great, and just these I think one of the highlights of the film is the kind of food poisoning sequence. And even though this is quite a gross out sequence, I think it's just one of the highlights definitely. And when Maya Rudolph kind of goes just gradually steadily goes down to the ground in the middle of the road, that was just so funny. And Melissa McCarthy as well, we have that kind of a moment when initially she belches from this. It's just so funny because first time seeing this, I didn't think they would all be food poisoned really, other than obviously Rose Byrne's character, Helen, but Megan, that's the initial thing, and I thought it was probably just her. But then seeing all the other characters, realizing actually they're all kind of food poisoned because they ate stuff like that, kind of diner there, and just. Kristen Wiig's character of Annie, though, is kind of really trying hard to sort of hold this in, and just to look good, and to not show that she was because it was her choice of the venue, showing that she was the one that done this, so not to kind of get or allow one up for Helen over her, and for her to kind of win in that instance, and for the whole kind of the problem there, and all the kind of everyone being sick, to be the blamed on Kristen Wiig's character of Annie. So it's just like, once again she takes it so far, this, and it's just it's so believable how some people go so far to kind of look good and to try and one up each other, and to appear to be the best in a situation, and it's just so funny, that sequence, quite full on obviously, but it's one of my favourites. And also the plane sequence as well, that was just so funny, the kind of air marshal, and It's just Mr. McCarthy there, it's just so hilarious and again, physical, but also situational comedy there, where, Christian Wiig is given, this stuff here, medication, and it's just, it's just so funny there, the interactions, and just all of the dialogue really in this film. It's just so engaging, kind of adding a lot to the character development, exposition, of the characters, but also, most of the film is just flat out hilarious, and I think throughout, it's just this great blend, as I say, and in the end, it's quite an emotional ending, the film, and something that is really truly, heartfelt, and I think the satisfying nature of really all of the threads for the most part, and I just think just the actual main, kind of story of this, and the actual, the bridesmaids, and of course Lillian, I think it is just a really satisfying outcome, and as well subtle hints at the end, of things that are to come, and they're not fully shown, but we kind of can piece together things that are going to happen in this kind of narrative and for the characters. So it's just a great ending, and I think by the end of this, once again really moved, and it's a really surprising film, as I say, with the kind of the turns in the narrative, and it's just I think seeing it again, it's just confirmed how much I love this film, and I really I found this to be, as I say, one of the best kind of modern comedy films. So overall, my rating for this film is a 95%. So an extremely high score from me. It's one that I absolutely love, especially after the first 10 minutes. It's just a film that I love throughout, and it's just a real kind of warm, charming film. Obviously hilarious throughout. The performances are so great, and as well, it's a kind of life-affirming, uplifting, inspiring film, as well as just being this, hilarious comedy, and it's a real ensemble, but unique characters that are so stand out, in their own way. Especially Minister McCarthy, as Megan, and she's just so funny in this film, and also Rose Byrne, and back and forth between Rose Byrne and of course Christian Wiig in this film, and my Rudolph. All the performances here, just great, and Chris O'Dowd as well, real great character that he plays of Nathan, and just a real unexpected kind of relationship that forms, and it's the one that just makes sense at the same time, and I love the outcomes of all the threads really, all of them are satisfying. The final act as well, it's just so great in the way it's quite epic, it's quite big in many ways, but it's still focused, so much on the personal connections with the characters, and what started out, in this film with these best friends, and in the end they are once again best friends, even though they've had disagreements in the film. Lillian, of course, and Annie, and Helen as well. It's kind of this triangle, you could say. Even though they've had disagreements, ups and downs, in the end, they're kind of better friends than ever, and they've realised quite a lot of things, in this throughout this narrative, and I think it's just so well brought together in the end. The way it's directed, written, acted, and it's just hilarious film, one of my favourite modern comedies, and also it is just a really at times touching film, one that it's just so kind of emotional at times, and real just uplifting, inspiring film to watch. So that's my thoughts. What do you think on this film? We'd be great to hear in the comments, your kind of personal opinion on this, and share your experience with this film. It'd be great to do that. And loads more content coming on the channel very soon, and obviously December, the month of December, will be, kind of this epic, kind of blockbuster rewatch for me. Loads of films that I'm watching that, some of my favourites, and also Christmas films. So there will be quite a few reviews of films that I'm rewatching, blockbusters that are not Christmas films, and also just Christmas films, and a couple of rankings. So I look forward to all that. And today, let's discuss this film in the comments, and share experience with this film. So yes, as always, take care, and thanks for watching.